back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to answer some questions that I asked through my Instagram page, Lawyers Helping Each Other 2020. By the way, if you haven't followed us yet, please do. I'll put it here on the screen. Thank you for everyone who has followed us there. I normally share, once in a while, I share content through that, because basically, as a Lawyers Helping Each Other, it's where like I share my journey and those of others with the hope of helping other young lawyers. Anyway, so I asked a question. I was asking people what they would want to know about self-employment, and I got a few questions that I'm going to answer in this video. So the first question I got was, how do you get clients? So first, I've already shared a video on that, how to get your first clients in detail. I'm going to put it here on the screen, but you can also, I'll put it also the link in the description box where I've shared in detail. But right now, let me share how I got my first clients. But for me, how I got my first clients was that I went for criminal clients. I remember I used to go to Mlimani police cells, the police cells down there, where they normally bring people who are supposed to take their pleas that day. So you just go and ask them, do you have representation? If they don't, you can take them. You represent them for the plea, they pay you, you process their cash, you have them process their cash bill, you also get your money. And then, as you know, plea taking is not the last thing. The next, you're given a mention and date and a hearing date. So I also do that, and that's how I got my first clients. The second way I got it was through referrals. You know, you get referrals from friends, family. That's how I got my other clients. But that one, as I said even through in that video, it's normally risky. Remember, friends and family, sometimes if you're not, ensure from the beginning you're professional. Don't bring in the friendship and because you'll find yourself doing work for free or way less than what you're putting in. And then also another way I've gotten clients is I established my law firm website, so where I share content maybe on land, employment frequently, and through that you get clients. Because you find someone saying, I saw your article on employment and I have this and that issue, or I saw your article on land and I have this and that issue, or even sometimes you get even clients for different things from what you have written about. Like for me, I remember there was a time I shared an article, I think, on employment, and someone wrote a comment there saying that the way she's looking for an advocate to represent her, I think she was supposed to do an appeal and she didn't know how to go about it, because I think during the law court she presented herself, and I got that. And that's how, like, now basically I'm just sharing how that's how I got my first clients. But first, let me tell you, it's not easy. I don't want to make it as though it's so easy. So by the time you're making that decision for self-employment, just know it's not going to be easy. So at least maybe have finances set aside first. And something I should say is that people have different experiences. Some people, they get clients faster than others. Some people have different experiences. So just ensure when you're making that decision, base your decision on your situation and yourself. Just understand, because you're the one who knows maybe the amount of money you have in your account and everything. So don't base it on so and so, because some people get it easy. Some people, maybe the first client they get just after when they are doing self-employment is a client who a very good deal and they make it immediately. Now you find someone comparing themselves to such a person. So just ensure that when you just know getting clients is not easy and it's different for everyone. That's the best way I can put it. Getting clients is not easy and it's different for everyone. So ensure, just focus on your own situation. Just understand your situation, because you know yourself. You might find, you may be comparing yourself to someone who is single, and maybe for you have a family, or maybe you support your family at home and you're comparing yourself to a person who they don't support their family at home. Like, circumstances are different. So just ensure you are just focus on your circumstances. Just know for yourself, if right now maybe I quit my job and go for self-employment, will I still, if I'm not able to get clients for my first months, will I still survive? Like, base it on your own personal situation, not someone else. Because as I've said, people have different circumstances, and some people have gotten lucky, some not. So just ensure you follow it according to yourself. I hope that I've answered that question well. So the second question I got is, when do you know it's time to hire help? So now this is now after you've gotten into self-employment. At what time do you know it's time for me to hire help? What I can say is you will just know, because with time your clientele start building up. So you need extra help. So that's when now you most, because for me, someone like me, at first I used to outsource help. Like I didn't hire an in-house clerk at first, or and for me, but that's what I was saying, circumstances are different for everyone. For me, the office I first rented is like, it's more of you lease it from someone who was already, because it's a moving company. It was a moving company that I leased that office. So they leased the entire floor. They rented the entire floor so they could lease out rooms. So for me, I leased a room there. And the best part about that is I didn't have to buy like a table. It comes with everything plus Wi-Fi. And also, since at the reception you can still use their secretaries. Like if you have, they were okay. Like you can use their secretaries. Like if I have, let's say if someone delivers a letter when I'm not there in the office, they could receive it on my behalf. So for me now, you see, for me, just like that, I didn't need a secretary. That it wasn't an urgent matter. And then with clerk, I could outsource. Like I get a clerk who I could, you can, but it's easy. There are many clients who freelance, so you pay them, just agree with the amount. So sometimes for me, that's why I started by outsourcing. Because when starting out, you want to minimize on your expenses, because you're trying to build up your law firm. So when you know you need to hire help, it will like, then now with time, now you start getting, I know through me, the thing I like with outsourcing first, it will help you, because the clerks would really disappoint. Then there are some you'll work with them as freelance, and some, like, you talk to them, they are willing to come. Like me, that's the clerk I was using, they are willing to come for you employ them, but after now you've worked with them as an, like, outsourcing them, not like permanently. So I think when you know, like this question of when do you know it's time to hire help, you'll just know, because work will start piling up, and that's when you'll know that you need help. You need to hire people. But what I would advise, at least before, start by outsourcing. That's the best place to start. When you're still maybe just starting, start by outsourcing, so that you can use to vet, right? Because of course, even though you hold interviews, some people, they are so good on paper, but when it comes to doing the work, it's different. So me, I can advise you to start by outsourcing. Through outsourcing, because through outsourcing is when you get like a glimpse of the best person you're going to hire. So I hope that question has been answered. But for most of people I know that are self-employed, before they hire help, they take time. And then some I know, they start immediately by hiring even help. They start immediately by hiring help. So I think also it will depend with you, because there are people who are okay even without having a lot of clients. They are willing to help. They have the finances to do that. So again, circumstances are different. It will depend with you. You see, someone like me, I got lucky. I didn't have to hire a secretary, considering the office I had rented. I didn't need a secretary. So as I've said, according to hiring help, it also focus on your circumstance. You know, like, just so you yourself know, like, if you have workload that you can handle yourself, then of course you don't need to hire help. But you have workload that you can't handle yourself, that's why I've said you can either outsource or hire help. And also, your finances. You can't start hiring help if you don't have that finances too. Remember, you have to pay them rent. Sorry, remember, you have to pay them their salaries. So it will depend with your circumstances. Because as I've said, there are people who immediately start by hiring help because they have that finances from the beginning, even before they start even getting a lot of clients. So focus, like, your situation. It just depends with your situation. With what? So if you feel your workload is enough for you to hire help, go ahead and hire help. If you feel it's still something you can handle, I think it's okay to just do it for yourself. Because even when starting out, I think, because you have few clients and you want to be hands-on, you want to have that personal relationship with the client. So doing it yourself also, it's normally a good way of starting out, because you give it that personal touch, and the client, clients work with you because of trust. When you're doing it yourself, you'll do it faster, you'll do it better. So as it will depend also just your circumstances. And then I hope that question is well answered. There's someone who asked two questions in one. The person asks, is it profitable and is it better than being employed as an associate? Let me first answer the first one. Is it profitable? Again, it will depend. It depends. There are people, me, I can say, especially starting out, sometimes it's not easy. Well, just starting, because you're just starting, you're just building your clientele, you just so I can say maybe at the beginning may not be profitable, but also as I say, for some people there's some people who get very good clients from the beginning, but mostly when you're just starting out, you're still, you're just building your clientele. And most of the time, like me, also me, I remember charging, you find yourself, you don't charge a lot of money, but for me, I can say in the long run, it's a profitable venture, depending on how you put it, how you, so just like any business, a law firm is just like any business. It depends to how you handle your finances, because if you mismanage your finances, again, it won't be a profitable venture, because the problem with self-employment, you'll find you're the business, like that's where your rent comes from, that's where your food comes from, that's where everything comes from. But remember, it's still a business. So that's also, for me, those are some of the things I struggled with. But I also shared managing your finances, because you find yourself, you can't separate the personal from the business. And remember, for a business to grow, you have to be putting it back to the business, especially when it's starting out. So I can say profitable, it will depend on how you will run your law firm, to know if it will depend. But a law firm, if run well, me, I think it's a very profitable venture. According to me, it's profitable. But another thing also, I remember during our admission, the attorney general was saying that, remember, you can never become rich by only becoming a lawyer. So just like any other business, you also have to have investments out there. You can't only focus on law firm. Remember, sometimes, like even during Corona, or sometimes even at the beginning of the year, most of the time we find there are not many clients. So even remember, during the pandemic, the law firms that you could not expect could be were hit hard by the pandemic. So that's why I was saying profitability, it will depend with how you run your business, how you make your investment. It will depend entirely on you and how you manage your finances. Because sometimes you find people who have very good clients, a big clientele, but they're mismanaging their funds. So profitability, for me, according to me, I think it's how you manage your business yourself, how you're going to run your law firm. It will depend with the profitability of your law firm. And then is this, the next question is, being self-employed better than being employed as an associate? What I can tell you is no, none is better than the other. Because, as I said, someone like me, I became self-employed because of circumstances. It wasn't a personal choice, because I'm just, sometimes when I think about it, I'm just like, what if after my admission I just got a very nice, like my employer could have retained me and given me a very good salary? Could I still be self-employed? So what I can say here, it depends. And self-employment should be it's a personal choice, just like running a business. As a person, as an individual, what you want for yourself. So if for you feel employment is okay, imagine it's still very okay, because I don't think there's anything wrong with being employed, because you can, so long as everyone has their own goals, their own everything. You have your own, like, what you want for yourself. So if that employment is fulfilling that, it's still very okay. And then for self-employment, there are people who employment, for them, they feel employment is not for them. Like for me, after now doing self-employment for some time, I feel that I feel like employment is not what I want for myself. So what I can say, it depends. It depends with your goals and your own personal goals. And I can't say that employment is better than self-employment, or self-employment is better than employment. It will depend with your own goals, your own personal goals and agendas. Because as I said, some people, self-employment was circumstances, not personal choice. So I can't come here start saying self-employment is better than employment, because not that I personally just left employment for myself. And I've had people who have been in there. But then let me tell you, there are people who have gone to employment, and after some time they're like, no, employment is not for me. They have gone to self-employment. And then there are people who have been in self-employment, and then they're like, no, self-employment is not for me. So this one will depend with your own goals, your own, like, life journey, what you want for yourself, for your own career. That will depend. That's the best way I can answer this question. None is better than the other. It will depend with you. As I was saying, you can't say I want to be self-employed because of so and so, or I want to be employed because of so and so. It has to be your own personal choice. Because let me tell you why. Because sometimes self-employment is so difficult, and then sometimes it's so difficult. But what keeps you there is because this is what I want. What I've chosen for myself. This is the type of career I would want for myself. And then also employment. I know employment. I have friends who are employed. Sometimes employment has its own toxicity. It has its own. But the reason that keeps you there is not because you feel this is what I want. I don't want self. I want this is what I want. Being here will help. Maybe you have your own goal of making a partner there, or whatever your thing is. But I can't specifically say which one is better than the other. This one depends with your own personal goals, because none is better than the other. It only depends to what you individually you want. And then I hope that I've answered that question well. And then the other question was, someone asked, like, how do you pitch to clients? How do you pitch to clients? I think pitching to clients, it will depend with your own confidence. I think this depends with the type of clients. Maybe, for instance, if it's, let's say, a circle or a bank, you want conveyancing, when you want to join the panel of those as organizations, maybe with a circle or a bank. So I think the best way to pitch, I think it's more of a standard way to pitch, because what they normally first want is your company profile. They want, like, maybe your current practicing certificate, and then now maybe you can, most people, you may think the best way is, like, it will depend. Now, of course, now they are the standard things that are normally needed. So I can say the best way you can pitch to clients is you offer something different. Like for me, I can give an example. As a young advocate, I remember there's a circle that I wanted to be part of the panel. Then, of course, your company profile can't be the same as an advocate who has been there for over 5 years. Your company profile is of course smaller, and your experience, of course, is less than that. But now I realize what I noticed is, what I can say, just offer them something that is different, that will stand out. I remember for them, I was like, I know what I knew is most advocates don't like this outside, especially these big law firms. They don't like outside work mostly, like especially maybe Nakuru, Kericho, outside the Nairobi, or maybe in Naivasha, like, and it's Nairobi and its environs. So for me, I went and pitched to them, and I was like, I'm okay with handling matters Nakuru, outside Nairobi and its environs. I'm very okay with handling such matters. And that gave me an upper hand, because I remember, and I started getting work. That gave me an upper hand, because most advocates, that's what they don't want. So I can say, to answer this question, well, how do you pitch to clients? I think it depends. It will depend. If ensure you give them something different, something that they'll be looking for. Because if I could approach them with using the same thing, like, I'll ensure I do your work very well and everything. They already have advocates who are doing that. But that's why I knew, if I approach them on this angle, most people don't like these places. So that's the best way I can say you can pitch to clients. And also another way pitching to clients, also, like, give, like, from the beginning, give them give them more than what they were expecting. Give them more than what they would expect. Just imagine, like, if it's this client, just imagine what the expectations are. What the expectations are. They expect you to do this and this and this, and then think of outside the box. That when you approach people and pitching with something different from what they were expecting, like more, of course what they were expecting, but you give them also more than what they were expecting. So that's how you can also get clients. So with my experience, that's the best I can give. Like, that's how I think the best way you can pitch to clients. When you're pitching to clients, that's the best way. Offer more than what they were expecting. And then, like, now, for example, for convincing, offer, like, look for something that, this is what is their major problem. Their major, like, for me, it's getting advocates for these areas. So you offer them that solution. And also, while pitching, make sure, don't talk about yourself mostly. Maybe just talk about your law firm in the first paragraph, if maybe you're pitching through writing. or when you're talking, the first sentences only, but the rest talk about them, like what you do to them, what you do to them. That's what people want to hear. Clients want to hear, what are you going to do to them? The mistakes people make while pitching the first time, you find yourself pitching according to, we are the best. You focus on yourself, like we will do this, we will do this, like we are the best law firm currently, we handled it. Make sure you're just focus on them, focus on the client when pitching, like what are you going to do to them. Let them, and just ensure by the time they are coming out of there, they feel, this is the type of person I should. But also another thing when pitching, don't make the mistake of undercutting. Like, of course you can give a discount, but don't over undercut, because trust me, there are organizations that when they're giving out work, you might have quoted, let's say for instance 20,000. There's an advocate was quoted 100, they will give them for 100. So don't, when pitching, don't undercut yourself. The main thing when pitching is focus on your value, the value you're going to give them. Also, me, like those, like the ones that the example of the ones that I agreed to take Nakuru, it didn't mean that I was going to be paid less. I didn't say that because of that you can reduce my fees. No, first I was asking because for me, mine, it will mean more work. You know, like a person who's doing that for Nairobi, that will mean I have to be sending someone to maybe Nakuru, out of maybe Kericho. You know, that's more money. So you explain to them that now for you, because you'll be doing out of Nairobi, it doesn't mean that your fees should go down. So that is on pitching for clients. I can't say that is the best I can give now based on my experience so far, because of course I'm sure person who has practiced more has more experience on that. But but I hope, I really hope these questions have answered them best. And for everyone who wants to join self-employment, I can say, for everyone who wants to join self-employment, it's not easy, but it's doable. You know, it's doable. You learn. By the way, I can tell you, it doesn't come with a manual. You learn on the job. You learn on the job. You learn on the job. And there are normally those hard days and those. But you know, with time you adapt. You know, sometimes things are hard. So that's why you at least make sure you have money, or you have another source, a side hustle, or another source of income just in case. So just plan, because what I tell myself, these law firms that have been there for years, they started somewhere. They also started somewhere. They didn't just like miraculously just appear in those locations those prestige locations that they are in. Thank you very much. So don't forget to follow us on Lawyers Helping Each Other 2020 on Instagram, and also like our page on Facebook, Miss Tanwi. And if you have any more questions, you can leave it on the comment section and I'll be able to answer them. But I hope this has answered your questions a few of the questions that you had on self-employment. Thank you so much. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. See you on my next video.